Basically, you will find two types of elements or two types of tags. Now, these tags, these elements will have a matching pair. Usually, you'll find something like the tag has a starting one and it has an ending tag pair. Now, there are several types of elements you'll encounter during your course or during your development purposes. You'll see that there are some elements that does not have this ending tag pair. Now, if you have noticed carefully when I explain this entire document tree to you, then I have actually included one of these element that does not have a matching pair, and it's also nested inside an element that does have a matching pair. So if you notice this section, this entire section, it has got an opening tag along with a closing tag, and inside that section, inside this parent element, we have got another child element. And this descendant element or this child element has a matching tag pair. You can also see that this aside element has got, or this aside tag, this opening aside tag has got a matching closing aside tag. Inside this aside tag, we've got an image element. So this image element will print out any form of the basic form of images that are supported by web browser. It will print them out, or it will output them on our browser. So I've called in an image to be shown on my browser. Now, if you notice this element, it hasn't got any form of closing HTML element. So this form of element is sometimes known as the empty element. There is another one which can be used to provide a new line. So this is called BR, or line break tag. Now, the line break tag is an example of an empty element. It does not even contain any sort of attributes. But if you want to create a new line on your paragraph or on your text or on your contents, then you need to use this BR tag. So basically, both of them are known as the empty tags because usually you will find that there are times when we use just the element name with no matching ending tag pair. So both of this does not have something like this. You won't find something called you won't find an ending image tag, or you won't find something like this, an ending line break tag. So this is actually invalid, and the browser will ignore this part. So it has no meaning inside your HTML document. So let's erase this off. So because it does not have any conventional or meaningful usage on your document, so it's not included and it does not even exist. So if you will find there several types of elements that does not have this that does not include an ending tag pair. These are known as the empty tags. So you can use an empty tag inside your document whenever you need that, but one of the use is when you print out the image for your document. Like this image has been printed out using the image tag that I've included inside this aside tag pairs. So that was about this empty tag and the usual way of using tag. Now, HTML, you might look at the code and you'll see that I have provided indentations. Now, the indentation is providing spaces so that it becomes easy for another programmer or another person to read. It becomes easier to read. So indentation is important in the sense that your document can be read easily. If you do not provide appropriate indentation, like I've started my root element. So now this HTML tag pair are the root elements because they start an HTML document. So this root element has got few other elements that will pass in information, like the head part, and that will produce the content and the layout of the page, which is the body part. Now if you look closely enough, I have provided like 4 spaces. 4 spaces is equivalent to 1 tab. So if you tab this, you will get 4 spaces. Now it's easier to read. When you work in a team, if you just provide, if you do not include any form of indentation, it gets harder for people to read. And if you provide an open source project, whenever someone downloads your project, it might be hard enough for them to read them. Basically, the white spaces in the sense the tabs or the spaces that you use to make it more readable, they won't be accounted inside your browser. Your browser will ignore these white spaces when the rendering occurs behind the scenes. Besides, you can actually use comments to help another person if someone else is trying to read your code. Suppose you have created a web project and you are going to host that as an open source project. Open source in the sense means it actually means that the project will be free of charge. Nobody needs to pay anything to get your project. So if you want to do that, and there are lots of projects that are actually open source or free of charge, you don't need to pay for them. And if you want to make another project like that on anything, then you should provide comments. Comments are actually ignored by the browser when the rendering occurs. So comments are basically used to help out someone else who might be reading your code, or maybe it might help you when you return to your code after a long time. So suppose I want to explain what this paragraph is doing, or what this thing is actually doing to my document tree. So to provide commenting part, or to provide comments on your document, you start with an angle bracket, a left angle bracket, then the exclamation mark, and you follow it along with the 2 dashes. Then you write anything that's that will explain that will explain to someone else in human language. In human language, yeah. So comments are usually meant for people. They're not meant for machines or browsers or your compiler. So let me just write that. Make printing my name using the paragraph, using the HTML paragraph tag. Now if you look in this part, after I've included this starting angle bracket along with this exclamation mark and the dashes. It's actually telling the ID or the compiler behind the scenes that I have started a command. Now I need to end this. If I don't end this, then the rest of the document will be referred, or it will be considered to be something inside the command. It's not part of the document tree that needs to be included, or that needs to be printed out on the browser. Your comments won't be printed out on the browser. They are included for humans to understand. Suppose you create a web project and you don't attend to that project for a very long time, and after a few months maybe you come back to your code and you don't understand what's going on. So suppose if you have included comments at the first place when you were creating that project, then it would be easier for you when you come back after several months, because you might not understand something that you have already written.